Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett, and in this video, we're talking about the best and the worst interior design trends of 2025. We're seeing some interesting things and we're gonna dive into it. Now, the first design trend that I don't like, okay, I never liked it and I don't like that I see it in 2025. We're gonna put an end to it right now, is polished concrete. Concrete floors, I don't like that. I don't like it. No. It reminds me of like a little cafe where they want to hose down the floor, like a filthy nightclub. Ooh, I mean, well, that's kind of a vibe, but not for our like living situation, right? I don't want to live in a house with concrete floors. Concrete is interesting to me because it could lean a couple of different ways depending on the way it's finished. Also, a lot of people think that concrete is a more affordable option for flooring in your home, and that's not necessarily true depending on the condition of it and what sort of finish you actually want to apply to it. So concrete can be either warm or cool toned in its nature, just based on the materials and the aggregate that's used to create it. But it also has a tendency of getting hairline cracks in it in your home as things settle, and that's not necessarily a structural concern. It can be. Having exposed concrete on your floors, whether it's finished, polished or not, will expose any of that happening. Also, concrete floors, they can just be very cold. I mean, concrete is inherently a cold material. So yeah, it's not gonna feel great on your feet all of the time unless you're putting like heated floors underneath it and covering it in concrete. It's a lot to go through for flooring in your home. I think people like it because it's different, because it has that industrial feel and it's kind of modern, but still warm toned. I mean, like I said, it depends on the finish you apply to it, because sometimes it just looks like cold gray floors, and I just don't like that. I just don't think it's chic. It doesn't feel comfortable to me. It feels like concrete. There are a couple of places I think that concrete works really well. A parking garage is one, but it could look good in a loft type of space. So I will throw that out to you. Concrete floors are not always bad, but they do have that more industrial feeling that not every home needs to have or really works, in my opinion. So it's a trend we're seeing for 2025. It's a trend I would like to end now. Like concrete countertops, all right, you know, I mean, like, it's not my favorite, it's not my most hated thing, but not my preference. Concrete floors, I don't think so. I'd rather see a real flooring material, whether it's, you know, a ceramic tile or an LVP. If you're looking for that budget-friendly option, you want to go with actual wood flooring. All of those things are great, but it's like, I don't think you need to have concrete floors. I don't think they're giving the message you think they are. Now, what you might need is a little bit of design advice when it comes to choosing some of those big finishes in your homes. It's a big commitment, the flooring that's in your space, or any decision, be it painting a wall or redoing a kitchen. I am at your service. You can always book a one-on-one virtual design consultation with me. You can actually show me around your home, and I can form actual opinions on your space and give you some of the advice you might need. So be sure you head to the description box down below. Go to intro.co/GarrettLeChic to book that consultation with me. Another big trend of 2025, it's not a hated trend, it's not my favorite trend, I'm kind of neutral on it, are the slat wall panels. This is going to be one of the biggest DIY trends we see on social media this year, because right now modern design is the thing, okay? Everybody wants the newest, the latest, the greatest thing, and these slat wall panels, they can be applied by pretty much anybody, okay? I would recommend you have them professionally done, because if they need to be cut to size, we want that really clean finish and look on them to get that high-end look people are trying to achieve. But these are going to be a massive DIY that people are going to love because, like I said, they're accessible to everybody. For a while there, it was like pole wrap, and people were using the backside of pole wrap because it was wood, you could stain it, but the slat wall panels have a more highly finished look, and they're oftentimes pre-finished and they don't require staining or anything, which is great. This is all about accents and details. One of the biggest details in modern or contemporary design is multiple finishes within a space on walls. So you take each wall and apply a different finish to it. This wall might be all glass, and that's really great. This wall behind me might be all slat panel, and then that wall has mirrors on it, and that wall is painted drywall. Those are all different finishes on walls in the same space, but the slat wall panel is something you can do. A big trend this year is also all about kitchen islands and how they are covered or finished, and people are doing like stone tops on them, but instead of having like exposed cabinetry or like a drywall island, wrapping them in this slat wall panel or pole wrap is a big trend because it has a more finished look. It does read as being high end. You can also create a little bit of contrast or asymmetry using this. If you put it just behind the television in your space, it serves as an accent moment instead of building in a fireplace. Like, that's really where we are going to see this. And the reason I say it's not a favorite, but I don't hate it either, is I don't hate it because it does tend to look good. It's an easy DIY that people are getting their feet wet with, and I think that's nice when you can actually make a change to your home easily on your own and by yourself. It doesn't have to be nailed in all the time. You could even just use an adhesive on it. So it is something interesting. But the reason I don't love it is because I think it's already starting to be a little overdone. We're seeing a lot of people do this, a lot more people are gonna do it, and I know I'm gonna see the real estate listings going crazy and popping up with this stuff all over the houses. And it's like, imagine myself in like 3 years time, I'm doing consultations and people are like, what do we do with this? And I say, well, you either tear it down, the wall behind it's probably messed up, or you're gonna have to paint it. So that's kind of the love-hate relationship I have with it. It does look good right now. It's a trend though, so I think it's something to think about deeply, whether it's going to be timeless for you, whether that wood tone is what you want, and does it even work within the space? Does it match what you have going on? Or are you just like, that's the new thing, that's the modern thing, add it into my house? Does it make sense for you? It wouldn't make sense in my colonial home because it's very modern. So is it gonna make sense in your house? That's the big question you have to ask yourself, whether it's worth your time or not. And in my opinion, that's something you need to put a little bit of extra thought into when it comes to this trend. The number one kitchen design trend for 2025, I talked about this in a couple of previous videos actually, is quartzite. Quartzite is the biggest trend for kitchen design right now because it's beautiful, it's soft, the stone has movement, but it doesn't have really harsh contrast. If you love that, like the beige fantasy, I'm not gonna read you Girls for Filth right now, but probably next week I will. That's really good for you because there are a lot of neutral tones there. Quartzite is a good material. It's not as soft as marble, and it actually has certain stain resistant properties that are better than granite. So a lot of people really like quartzite. It's beautiful, and there's a lot of it out there. It's kind of the thing where marble gets overdone and it's like oversaturated, right? It was like super, super in like the 80s, okay? And then it kind of fell out of fashion. Granite was more popular. People were doing that, but then everybody got tired of granite and they went back to marble. Now they're onto quartzite. I like quartzite because it is not super harsh contrast. It's not something that, in my opinion, will be dated very quickly depending on the variation of it you get. Most people are liking Taj Mahal. It's beautiful, it's very soft, but there are a lot of other versions of it out there. If you see a stone that has like really amazing colors in it, or it's something interesting you've never seen before, you're like, whoa, that's incredible. Is probably quartzite. It's either quartzite or onyx. Onyx is great because you can backlight it, but it's see-through, so it doesn't really make great countertops or like applied to walls because you can usually see like grout lines or trowel lines behind it if it's not done correctly. So that's something extra to think about, but quartzite doesn't have that issue, which is why people love it. Quartzite is a natural stone. It's not a man-made material, so it doesn't have the limitations that you do with like a porcelain countertop, right? We love porcelain because it's beautiful. It's the only man-made material that like really mimics natural stone, but because the pattern doesn't go all the way through the material, the edging on it and everything is really hard. Quartzite doesn't have that issue. It's really great, a big trend for 2025. It's something I do like. I think it will be oversaturated if everybody just does the Taj Mahal quartzite, which they're doing right now. So you know, I probably follow like 6 people that are putting in Taj Mahal quartzite to their home. And it's like, yeah, okay, it's great, but like, I've seen it. So what is your take on that? Are you gonna do this? Do you like it? I personally still like granite. There are some great variations out there that people really love. It's really durable and hard wearing, just as long as it's not that like really busy, TV static looking builder grade stuff. There are some great variations of granite out there. And the same thing goes for marble. I love marble. It's beautiful in the right place. And I think quartzite is the same. I think every material has the right application for it. It just depends if your space is that application. So I think it's good. I like it. I'm glad we're seeing something different come about. What's the next thing is the question. I think Taj Mahal quartzite, or quartzite in general, will be a big kitchen trend for the next 3 to 5 years. So maybe it's something worth considering in your home if you're redoing your kitchen in 2025. Speaking of things worth considering doing, it's worth taking a little bit of your time, 10 seconds, for example, and clicking that subscribe button and joining us, become a part of our LeChic family. I know most of you are watching on your televisions at home, so if you navigate to that stunning little photo of me, that will let you subscribe on your televisions. And if you're on your phone, hey, it's super easy. Join us, become a part of our LeChic family. We are battling YouTube's algorithm, and we are on the journey to 100,000 subscribers. We would love to have you as a part of our LeChic family here, because we are design enthusiasts. 2 videos every week, all about great interior design, what's trending, what's in, what's out, what's timeless design, and how to improve your home, your design, and your life. We are saving the world from bad design one home at a time, so we would love to have you here. And be sure you give this video a like. And you get to see this beautiful boy pretty often when he's not, having a nap. This is his nap time, so he's not super enthusiastic about being in the videos, but here he is. Oh, you're such a pretty boy. You're so handsome. Oh, you're so handsome, so handsome. Look at these ears. Look at how long the ears are. Look at that. We could use it as a blindfold, a little mask for you. Oh, so cute. Okay, Arden, back to your nap so we can get back to the video. Oh, yeah. Another massive trend for 2025, something I am seeing on social media, is the stone wall. So a big style trend for 2025 is going to be like a rustic, modern, rustic chic interiors, because we like that natural rustic kind of element. Think cabin vibes. I like that, and people are taking that and applying it to their homes in the form of stone walls. I think that's interesting. I do think it's good. You have to make sure you're doing this the right way, though, because not every wall is meant to be a stone wall. And there's a couple of things you have to consider also. Number one is making sure you do it right. What makes sense? What makes sense for that wall to be stone? Not every wall is meant to be stone in your house. Like, it's supposed to have the feeling of, a modern addition on an old building, or a stone wall, a converted outbuilding sort of thing. So if that's your stone wall, that makes sense. Okay, I see it there. And sometimes it's more than one wall. But for some people, it's like, oh yeah, we need to have an accent wall there. Oh, take the vent hood in the kitchen and make it stone. Do this wall in stone. I get where you're going there. But that doesn't feel like it was ever actually stone to me. So let's make it make sense. That's the big takeaway I want you to have there. Another thing to remember is that stone is heavy. Stone weighs a lot. And not everywhere in your home is meant to be covered top to bottom in extremely heavy stone. You could face structural issues. That's always something to think about, because like I said, stone is very heavy. A stone wall could weigh thousands of pounds. Is that going to make sense? Can your home actually hold up to that? You want to have a structural engineer out, or at least have a contractor out, to see whether or not it's possible, whether they think your home can actually support that weight. It's something to think about and consider, because your home isn't necessarily meant to hold like every bit of weight in every area. Sometimes something is too heavy. If you go for like a solid marble bathtub, I think it's fabulous, but that tub with the water in it requires extra structure in the building to hold it up. And the same thing applies to a stone wall. So think about it. Some things are just too heavy for some homes, and that might be one of them. Now, I do love the look and the feeling of it. The texture is gorgeous. The finish on it is wonderful. With a smudgy kind of mortar finish on it, can have a certain softness and authenticity, brings great texture into a home, but that texture also is not meant for every area. Can you clean that? No? Great, then maybe we don't put it in the kitchen where we're cooking and it's greasy and dirty and messy. Maybe we use it as an accent wall somewhere. That can be wonderful. You could also potentially find this in a not actual stone, but that looks real, like a foam-based material. We use a lot of that for the exterior of homes. That is very light, could be easily applied, and then could be cleanable a little bit more so than natural stone. So it's something to think about. I love the look. I love the look and the feeling. I personally would like to go to a hotel with this than have it in my own home, because I don't want to take care of it. I don't want to clean it. I'm not sitting there with a vacuum, and a toothbrush getting into all of the crevices of the stone. I got enough on my plate as it is. So I do think it's beautiful. It's great for a fireplace. It can be good for an accent wall in certain areas. Just make sure it's in an area that actually makes sense. It doesn't belong maybe in a bathroom or in a shower or in the kitchen next to the oven where it's gonna get messy and dirty. Let's save that area for something a little smoother that's easily cleaned. But with that said, I do think it looks beautiful and it could be great in the right home. Another trend for 2025 that I don't want to see, it's a bad one, I don't like this one, is the cable railing. I don't love a cable railing because it just has a very modular look to me. That's not always my favorite thing when it comes to design because I don't want something that feels like it's just stacked up and clicked and locked together. I want something that feels like it's really built in, like it's really good quality, like it's intentional and meant to be there. And a lot of these cable rail systems are designed to be, you know, like applied to every application. You can put it anywhere and it's fine. Like, yeah, just put that pole against the wall and screw the little rods into it. Like, I don't like that. It looks very industrial to me, like I would see it on a farm or on a boat. And while, hey, maybe we like a cruise vacation, I don't want to live there. So it's not something I would put into my home. I don't personally love it. I think there are better options out there that have that same modern look and feel. You could go with a frameless glass option that's, you know, really sleek and minimal. Glass has to be cleaned quite often though, so remember that. You could have something custom made with iron or a metal detail, or do a modernized take on a traditional banister or railing in a home. I think that's so much better than like a cable system that's like, it just looks like you took a weekend and put it in there or something. I don't love it. I don't love it. Plus cable, you know, metal cable is like wound and twisted together and there's lots of grooves there that I just know I'm gonna be taking a rag to wipe it off because it's gonna get dusty like everything in the house does, and the rag is gonna get snagged in the cable. I just know it. I just know it. I don't love it. I don't love that. I think there are just better things out there that have more detail, that are a little bit more personality driven. Also, a railing is a really good place to bring interest into a home. Plenty of things you can do that are custom, that are extra, that you could add or apply or do, you know, this wall, that molding and paneling and trim and all of this stuff. But every home needs to have some sort of railing. Like, not every home. If you have a one-story home, you probably don't have one. But if you have a two-story home, you have a staircase, you have a balcony, you need a railing. That's an opportunity to add a custom feature into your home that you kind of have to do. You have to have it. So you may as well do something interesting and special there outside of just like a metal cable railing. You know, I mean, it's like, okay, it's fine, but you can literally buy them, you know, flat packed into boxes. And a lot of this stuff is just like stamped out, mass produced, and I don't really care for that. I don't love that so much. I'd rather even see, you know, like a drywall railing with some molding and trim and paneling applied to it. I think that would be better than the cable railing. To me, it just looks industrial. It looks like it's trying to be modern, but really isn't. It doesn't feel like enough thought was put into it, and it doesn't excite me. That's what design should do. It should excite you. It should entice you. You should be like, whoa, that's a great detail. That's something really interesting, especially on those places where you kind of have to do something custom anyway. You may as well have a little bit of fun with it and do something special there. You all know me. I think it's better to have a contractor to do it anyway. Just because something is a DIY doesn't mean everybody is capable of doing it, and doesn't mean the finish is always going to be great or you'll get the outcome you're expecting. And especially when it comes to a railing, we need that to be very safe. So make sure you're doing it the right way, which is why I would have a contractor do it, because I don't want to put my faith in something I put together that's supposed to like keep me standing or keep me safe. Not the vibe. Now that we've talked about some of the best and worst design trends of 2025, be sure you check out this video right here all about overdone and overused trends that we need to let go of. Check it out and I will see you over there.